We have a visitor. I want to say a few words. Jim?
It's Jason.
Jason?
Zalf.
Say it again.
Zalf.
Zalf. Jason Zalf, who's running for State Assembly.
That's correct.
Come on up, Jason.
How are you, everybody? Bruce, thank you so much for giving me a few moments to talk. Oh, sure. So I have one of these for everybody when we leave tonight. Actually, you're the first people to receive them because they're right off the press today. These are palm cards. This is what we're going to be giving out to people that we come into interaction with when we knock on doors. For everybody who's been involved in this before, petition season is starting today, so I do apologize if you hear a knock on your door. It's probably me or somebody else or my opponent. I'm 26 years old. I've lived in Commack my entire life. My parents met in Commack High School North when there were two high schools. This is my community. It's why I'm running. I'm a certified teacher. I did my undergraduate degree at Hofstra University, and I did my master's in education as well at Stony Brook. For the last 4 years, I've worked in the Suffolk County Legislature. I worked for the presiding officer. His name was Bill Lindsay. I actually resigned from their office a couple of weeks ago because this campaign is going to be 100% of my time and effort. And so one of the biggest things that we're going to be talking about is during this campaign is seniors and how that's going to play a major role in the election cycle this year. We're going to be talking about retirement plans. We're going to be talking about education. How many of you in the room have grandchildren? Raise your hand. How many of you have grandchildren who have, or children who have left Long Island? Raise your hand. Okay. That is a major issue that we're looking into. And my opponent is Michael Fitzpatrick. He's the incumbent now. He's been in the State Assembly for 12 years. Before that, he was a town councilman. He's a very nice guy. We just disagree on the issues. And one of the things that I think that he as an elected official has failed us is working with the government to bring money and resources home. That's something that we're going to be discussing a lot about because there's going to be a report that comes out soon that $5.3 billion more that you pay in taxes go up to Albany that never come home. And that's a lot of money. That's something that we should be taking a look at and finding a way that we can reallocate the funds. And for somebody who's born and raised in Commack, I was lucky enough to grow up here. My parents instilled that in me. But my brother, when he graduated from high school, and he did very well, he left and never came home. So it's for people like him who want to be able to afford to live here, and a lot of my friends and a lot of you that would like to see your children and your grandchildren come back here and be able to afford to live here, to grow a business here, and to enjoy this place that we call home. So if I can be a partner in any way, shape, or form, please let me know. I would love to help out. I won't disrupt the meeting, so I will stay until the end and hand out the literature. And please, my personal cell phone number is on the bottom. Our email address is on the bottom. Please don't hesitate to contact me. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
You're running for what?
Anybody have any questions? Yeah.
I'm running for New York State Assembly in the 8th District. The district is the entire town of Smithtown, and it is in the Hopog-Islandia portion of Isliptown. So if you live on the Huntington side of Commack, I'm sorry that I bored you. But for those of you who do live in the town of Smithtown, I hope I can count on your support. This Sunday is going to be Smithtown Day. Attracts a lot of people. There's going to be a lot of great things. Hope to see you there.
What does an assemblyman do?
So a state assemblyman represents approximately 80,000 registered voters, and what they do is from January until June, they're in session every couple of days every week up in Albany, and the issues that they legislate on are social issues. One of the biggest issues that everyone keeps hearing about is Common Core with education. That's a very top issue. It's one of the areas where my opponent and I disagree the most on. As a certified teacher, I think the Common Core is a good idea in theory. It was just implemented the wrong way. So we're working kind of with the teachers union, with you know, some of the people up in Albany to try to see how it would be better fit for our districts, because our local communities that know our kids, they don't have enough of a say in what's going on here and up in Albany. Some of the other issues are, you know, we have a state pension system. We talk about motor vehicles. That's a big issue. One of the biggest issues is Medicare and health care. You know, every level of government, from town to county to state, they do a lot with roads. So trying to change the infrastructure. And the schools is a big one. So.
What's the difference between an assemblyman and a legislator? Like, what is?
Okay, so there's different levels of government. So realistically, every elected official who's involved in a legislative body is basically called a legislator. But a county legislator is really a county legislator, that's their title, and they handle county issues. They handle county roads, they do the plowing, they do the, you know, the street sweeping, they do a lot of infrastructure projects. You have town officials, a lot of times they're called council members, you have a town supervisor. In the state, you have two houses. You have an assembly, which is where I'd like to be starting in January, and that's a state assemblyman, and then you also have the Senate, which is a larger district. It's about 2.5 times what an assembly district is. So you have roughly 140 to 160 assemblymen at any time, and about 63 senators. So, and a lot of the issues overlap. You know, and then you also have two houses in the federal government. You have the House of Representatives, which are your congressmen. So in this area, you can have anybody from Tim Bishop to Steve Israel, and even parts of Commack and Commack, you have Peter King. So, and then you also have your United States senators. So, you know, everyone in New York has the same two. It's Kirsten Gillibrand and Chuck Schumer. Any questions?
How many going around for petitions to get on the ballot?
Yes. So what we're starting right now is our petitions to get on the ballot. I should have mentioned this. So I am actually the designee on the Democratic line. We have also screened with the Working Families line and the Independence line. The other thing that we're looking at is one of the biggest issues we're talking about right now is lowering electric costs. When you see my palm card, you're going to notice that the third and final bullet is about electric costs. My opponent and I agree on some of the issues with electric costs, but I would like to take it a step further. So what we're really trying to do is, here we kind of, on Long Island, we kind of have a monopoly. So what we're trying to do is we're looking at smaller municipal companies where we can get access to cheaper power, which I don't think anybody in this room would disagree with, that being a good idea. The other thing we're doing is, here in Long Island, we are still, and people in this room would probably know about this even more than I do, we're still paying off the debt to the non-operational Shore nuclear plant power plant. So that's something that the state is actively working on, is trying to reduce that debt and trying to bring us back to balance. So we're looking at an extra line there for people that are not registered to any particular party, but they're registered to vote. Because in this community, in the district where I'm running, we have 22,000 people who are registered to vote, but not party affiliated. And so, you know, this election cycle in particular is going to be about turnout. The governor is running, so that's something that's also going to be an issue there. You know, I understand that he's a Democrat. I know there are Democrats that like him and Democrats that don't. And there are Republicans and conservatives that like him, and then those that don't. We do not see eye to eye on education. As you can tell, I mean, all over Newsday the last couple of weeks was about how the teachers were protesting. Every function, he was out on Long Island, from a Democratic fundraiser to a convention that was here on Long Island. So we're running on our own issues. That's what we're trying to do. And, you know, we're looking at, you know, different types of things. We're trying to make government more efficient. You know, being in the legislature for the last couple of years, I've experienced the smooth transition, and I've also experienced the headaches. And that's something that we're going to try to make speedy, because for homeowners, for local businesses that want to be here, there's just way too much bureaucracy. It takes way too long to be able to, get through the process, to actually be able to be here to survive. So that's something that we're looking at, and pretty much it. Yes?
Are you aware of the plan that Smithtown planner has put forth discussing sewers and sewer districts?
Yes.
Yes. And Commack is not part of that at all.
Right. I had the opportunity to, a couple of weeks back, probably even more, like a month from now, by now, I was listening to the Smithtown Planning Commissioner. He was at the Smithtown Library. And it's unfortunate that Commack isn't part of that, because I've lived here my whole life, and being in government, I know that sewers, being able to hook up to it, it makes life a lot easier. It enhances our quality of life. It allows capacity for businesses to come in here. I've looked at other projects. I've talked to people, all the way in Holbrook. I've talked to them in Deer Park and all those areas about, what their experiences are if they're hooked up. I have a friend who is on the Suffolk County IDA, and he talked to me about how $100,000 is coming in to the town of Smithtown. And I said, that's fantastic, but where? And he said, Kings Park and Village of the Bridge. And I said, so now what happens to the western portion of the district that's just completely ignored? So that's something that I'm going to work on them with. Something that I would want to push forward if I was elected is going to be to bring a real master plan where we can look at how to change the whole entire district, which I think is really important, because to hook up Kings Park when they neighbor Commack and to not have it there, that's what you're going to do, is kind of do a divide and conquer. And it separates communities, and we need it. So I actually I have a cesspool. I remember when my cesspool first caved, it was because my mom was standing on the front lawn and all of a sudden fell about 4 feet.
Oh my goodness.
So, that was one of the things that we were working on in the legislature, and there's a lot of talks, and I would like to bring it to Smithtown, to the Commack side of it, and I think that that's where a lot of times things go wrong, is we have Town Line Road right here, Commack Road, and when you have two towns that are split, perfect example for anybody who lives like Town Line north of Jericho Turnpike, there's the baseball fields right there, and it's a traffic nightmare. And the Huntington side says it's the Smithtown responsibility, and the Smithtown Town Board says it's the Huntington responsibility. So that's the type of stuff where we're literally looking at something so simple as a quality of life issue, and they're pointing in either direction.
Welcome to our world.
Yeah. So, and then you have little things. Something that really frustrates me is I was driving down Main Street in Smithtown, right in front of Town Hall. And, I go up there, to Lake Grove, and I'll, cut through to Wisconsin. And there's a pothole right in front of Town Hall. And I knew the supervisor, I knew some of the town council people. So I said to the supervisor, I said, how about we get this pothole fixed? He says, call your assemblyman, it's a state road. So that's what we're dealing with here, folks. So what I want to do is, and great questions about, what the different levels of government do and what the issues are. But if you are a resident, you're a mutual constituent. So if you contact me and it's a town issue, it's my job to contact the town representative and then to also give you the information so you can do the same thing. So we're not working against each other, we're working together. And that's what I'm trying to do. So even before I run for November's election, if I can be of any help, if I can point you in the right direction, please don't hesitate to contact me.
Are you running against an incumbent?
Yes. So I'm running against Mike Fitzpatrick. And like I said, I know Mike, he's a nice guy. He's been in office a long time. He's been in the assembly for 12 years. And before that, he was a town councilman for 14 years. So, and nothing to say, against me, but I was born in 1988, and he was first elected into office in 1988. And he has made comments about my you know, being young, running for government for the first time, and this and that, and everything else. And I wanted to set the record straight. He was 3 years older than me when he ran for the first time. And the other thing is that I had 4 years of legislative experience when I decided to run this year, and he didn't have that. So, I mean, he had family that was involved in government, and you know, that's understandable. But to attack me on my age and my inexperience is just wrong. And I have it, and I know what works. And I worked outside this community, but I've lived here for 26 years. My parents have lived here for over 50, and I've seen it change. I mean, not as much as it has over the last 50 years, but I remember growing up and having the flea market at the Long Island Arena, but the sports teams weren't there anymore. There was a roller skating rink there, and when I was growing up as a small little infant, they didn't have the Target shopping center. They didn't have these mass, you know,
Box stores.
these big box stores, exactly. You know, they had a drive-in movie. And that's, you know, a lot of changes, and I would like to see it different. I mean, we've kind of gotten away from that, you know, walking community, very small, to you get in your car, you drive to a store, you get what you need, you get back in the car, and then you go somewhere else down the road to do the rest of your shopping. And that's something that, you know, we're facing today that I would like to change it a little bit. You know, you hear all the time about the patch hog, you hear about, you know, Islip Town, you hear about Sable with these little downtowns. It's different than what we have here, and I'd like to see some more of that, because it makes it a lot more convenient for everybody.
To put you on the spot, but are you familiar with the new tax rebate or tax cut for homeowners? Familiar with that issue?
Still doing a little bit more research on it. You know, I don't have a stance on it yet exactly.
Well, it's something that was passed in the legislature about the tax rebate. It was in the budget this year that they would get a tax rebate for the amount that the school districts raised taxes on the 2%. You familiar with that or not at all?
Not as much as you know, some of the other ones. But I know that there's, you know, some of the stuff that the state has done. I know that there's some stuff that the federal government has done, but I'll definitely look into it.
Okay, Jason, I wish you a lot of luck,
Thank you.
but I want you to know that in the last election cycle, there were more state legislators that were taken out of the state legislature in handcuffs than were unelected. It's about a 95% election rate for incumbents, and there were more who were arrested for illegal activities than there were dislodged from their seats.
I'm very aware of what was going on, which is why I waited till now. But the one thing that I just want to stress is, when I was working in the government, my job was I was a community liaison. So I would go to community meetings, I would go to the Chamber of Commerce's, the civics, and the one thing that I know about this community is very similar to out there, and that you guys do an incredible amount of work, and sometimes it's not recognized. And win or lose, I'm going to be more active here, because something that we tried in Holbrook was something simple about forming a beautification committee and sprucing up medians on the county roads. And it's a win-win because the businesses take on the responsibility, so it's no longer, you know, from tax-paying dollars with the county, but it's now the business's responsibility to maintain it, and then they get proper recognition and signage, and then the community looks nicer. So I think something that's happened is because we've had a lot of elected officials in the town and the state government here and in the county that have been here for so long, they've let some of those community infrastructure projects go by the wayside. And even if I am not successful in November, I would like to partner in any way that I can and see what we can do to keep the community going.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay. The only officer absent is Art Riley. The reading of the minutes of the preceding meeting, everyone should have gotten a copy by email. Are there any corrections or deletions that anyone would like to make? So can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the preceding meeting? Pat, and seconded by Della. All those in favor? Okay. Reports of officers. Rachel and I went to the Smithtown Library League of Women Voters meeting about the Smithtown Town Plan. No, you didn't go. No, Rachel and I went. And Mr. DeRubius presented said that the first 6 or 7 parts of the master plan for Smithtown were completed. Now, the first 6 or 7 parts are descriptive parts. In other words, the population, the land use, what we're doing now, what we have now. The meat of a plan is the plan, what we're going to do in the future. The last plan for Smithtown was finished in 1957. So we haven't had a plan for 50 years almost, which means that the Smithtown Town Board does everything ad hoc. There is no plan. Everything is done as it comes up, which politicians love, because that's how you get money into your re-election campaign. Mr. DeRubia said that the planning department had been cut by 1/3, and he had suggested farming out the plan to a outside organization, and the town turned it down, and therefore it's going to take another 2 years before this final plan, before this final part is done, which means that I hope to see it in my lifetime. In the meantime, there's a discussion at town council about an overlay district. Now, we talked about that at the last meeting. I showed you the Kings Park industrial park, and they're talking about an overlay for that. But at the next town board meeting, they are talking about an overlay for the Hauppauge Industrial Park, where the industrial park itself is paying for their own sewers. They're going to put in the sewers because they need to have more density, and that will permit them to make the buildings taller, to have more capacity on the same amount of ground. If you only have a cesspool, you're limited in how much capacity you can have in the building. So with a sewer system, they can go, I think, up to 150 feet high in a building which is like 4 or 5 stories.
15 stories.
So maybe it's not 150, maybe it's
50 feet?
maybe it's 50. But I think it was 4 or 5 stories tall. Right now they're limited to 2 stories. And the other thing he mentioned was that no one can build a new restaurant in the town of Smithtown. You can only build where there's already been a restaurant because of the sewage capacity. In other words, you can't put another restaurant in the town of Smithtown, a new one, because restaurants require a great deal of sewage. So there's lots of limits not having a sewage system. And I hope we see that in our lifetime too. He talked about a sewer that would run down Jericho Turnpike all the way from Smithtown to the border here at Commack. That's a huge project and years and years, you know. I don't know if any of that's going to happen.
The town will be looking to fund that?
No,
Sure.
the 5 towns on something.
Well, but that's would have to fund. I'm sure there are state and federal funds that are available to them, but I'm sure that part of it would have to be town money. But that's waiting for this final phase of the plan, which is at least 2 years away. But the Hopog Industrial Park sewerage is not. That's imminent. I think that's going to happen because the town is not paying for it. The industrial park is paying for it because it's a necessity to them.
The amount of traffic that's going to generate if there's greater density, as it is when Northern State lets out into Veterans Highway, you can't move around from 4 o'clock on. I can't imagine greater density there.
Yeah, there's going to be. It'll be a few years, but there's absolutely going to be. And
Great planning.
well, that's the point of not having a plan. I was in touch with Ryan McGarity, who is Steve Ballone's assistant. Balone is the supervisor of Suffolk County, about Town Line Road. The reason I was in touch with him was because Mr. Patron, you remember, came to our meeting on April 29th? April 29th?
The truck was in January.
Oh, in January? And he said that he would be willing to compromise on trucks on Town Line Road as long as the garbage trucks could go up and down to Covanta to dump the garbage loads from Smithtown, from Huntington, and that he would be willing to exclude the 18-wheelers with 80,000 pounds coming from the city. Since then, he has not acted on that, and he has claimed that the reason is that it's a county road legally, and the county has not agreed to repair the road. So I called up Mr. Malone's office and got Mr. McGarity, and he said that he would investigate it. And I said that Smithtown and Huntington have been doing this with the county, and he looked into it, and he said that he spoke to the County Commissioner of DPW, Department of Public Works, and he assured them that the county has agreed to repair Town Line Road, to maintain it. In other words, last year, you remember they paved it, but it was only 2 inches of asphalt, which would crumble under the 18-wheelers. And he said that they have agreed to maintain the road. But if 18-wheelers with 80,000 pounds are going on it, they can't, because it's not built for that. So I said, look, we've been at this for 2 years now with Smithtown and Huntington and the county, and we had a meeting a couple of years ago with town officials and county officials, and everyone said something ought to be done about it, and nothing's gotten done. I said, can you get the 3 people in a room who are responsible for this? I said, someone from the town of Huntington, someone from the town of Smithtown, and someone from the county, who can agree upon this. These are all the things that we've been told. So he said he would do that. I'm hoping within the next couple of weeks he will. In the meantime, I spoke to Mr. Trotter, who's our new legislator, and he's a former policeman, former Suffolk County policeman. And he called up a couple of friends of his in the motor carrier division, and he said this past week they did some extra patrolling of Town Line Road. He's going to get back to us with a report on how many tickets were issued. Has anyone noticed any difference in the trucking on Town Line Road? No, you still see the big 18-wheelers.
I saw one today.
Yeah. But I mean, has it lessened at all? Hard to tell.
I'm really not traveling as much on it right now.
Okay. I'll send everybody a report on that. I think Dan has a report on the latest with the Marion Call Farm case. Any questions about Town Line Road? That's where we're at with that. Dan?
Yeah, well, regarding the farm, I subscribe to the e-courts, which anybody can subscribe, and you can follow the case. They send you emails and such. So I got a bleep on my phone that got an email, and The latest is the heirs were, well, let's step back a second. The school district put in an answer a couple of months ago, I guess about 3 months ago now, if my memory serves correctly, to move to dismiss the case based on certain legal arguments. One of them was they were trying to amend their answer to bring up a defense that several people in this organization tried to bring up when the school district said they weren't going to fight the fight, and that was the statute of limitations had expired on the heirs' rights to sue to take the farm back. So I got a copy of the request by the heirs, their answer to the court, and it was pretty funny because the school district chose not to fight the heirs, but they chose to fight the community members who tried to have the case dismissed based on the statute of limitation defense. And they ultimately won, and the community members weren't allowed to submit those defenses. So now the school district was trying to assert those defenses several months after they fought the residents, and now the heirs are trying to convince the court not to let the school district use that defense based on the fact that they thought that the school district should have asserted that defense right from the beginning. And it's funny enough is that the heirs' attorneys cite the fact that the community members brought up this defense and the school district didn't listen to them. So that's one of the reasons why they don't want the school district to be able to assert that defense, basically saying that they waived their right to use that defense because they didn't assert it in the beginning, and that community members brought that up, and that they should have amended their answer then. So that's just an interesting tidbit. So now it's back, it's the waiting game, it's the legal system, it's in the courts, and that's the last I heard. What we've seen of it is the heirs are trying to convince the court not to let the school district raise the statute of limitations defense because they're saying that it was untimely, that they should have waived it, they should have asserted that defense before, and since they didn't, and they waited several months to do it, that they shouldn't be allowed to amend their answer through the court system. So it's to be continued. I mean, the legal system is a long and arduous thing, so it's probably going to go on for more months and months and months, unless the school district decides that they just want to settle the case. Unfortunately, if the school district wanted to sell the property, they would have to put it to the vote again, like we had a few years ago. They would have to put up a referendum and have the people support to sell it. If they voted no, they wouldn't be able to sell it. But now that there's a legal case, I guess theoretically they could just settle it and say, we'll let you have your property back, and that would kind of circumvent the election that they would be required if they wanted to sell it. So I don't know if that's their intention, but that's certainly something that's plausible that they could do, that they could just let the farm go as a settlement. And I don't know if that's
I don't know if they can legally just let the farm go as a settlement. Because that's a piece of school district property that you just can't give away. You can't.
As part of a settlement?
Yeah, but I don't think. I think that if they could have done that, they would have done that. My own analysis is this: that if you remember, when the heirs brought the suit, it was just as they were entering negotiations with the Help for Children with Retarded Mental Development and the equestrian group, and the two people who were leading those two groups said to me that they were at the point of writing a contract with the school district. In other words, that contract negotiations were proceeding. And that is when the heirs brought suit. So it's quite a coincidence that 30 years went by without a suit, and then just as they were going to have a contract for community use and not being developed, that the heirs brought suit. Secondly, to me, there's only two possibilities about them not raising the defense that the three community members raised, statute of limitations. And one possibility is that their attorney, Mr. Banowski, gave them poor advice, which I don't believe is the case. He's a very astute attorney. He's been an attorney for many school boards. It's not just the Commack School Board. And he's been in the business for many years. The other possibility is that the school board directed their attorney not to raise that defense because they knew it would be the end of that suit. I don't think the school board is really interested in selling that property. It was obvious when they were going to sell it for $750,000. Their interest to me is that, from what I would think, my own analysis is only personal, their interest is in seeing 40 or 50 condos built, each of those condos paying $15,000 or $20,000 a year in taxes, and not having a lot of kids go to the school district, because generally in that community, it's, well, I don't think it's 55 and over, but it's generally older people buying those condos in a golfing community. It's generally not younger people with young kids. You know, in any case, it would be a smaller number than would be in a private house turning over. So I think that's their ultimate goal. I don't blame them for having that as their ultimate goal. That's their job. But what I do blame them for is constantly misleading the public. This whole thing began when, for us, when we asked for a community garden on Marion Carl Farm, and the answer was that they were investigating alternative uses, and they weren't investigating anything. They had signed a contract of sale 6 months before that question. So it's been a one step after the other of misleading the public, and that's what I blame them for. Not for trying to get more development and optimize their taxes. But we'll see. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know what's going to happen, and it's up to the judge at this point. But the last time I spoke to the gentleman who is working with the children for help for children retarded mental development, they are still interested in putting a school on that grounds, and at the same time, over a 10-year period, refurbishing the house and making a museum. So that hasn't gone away, but we'll have to wait and see.
I would just say that if you guys are interested in saving the farm and seeing the goals of Marion Carl brought to fruition, that you guys should, come to these school board meetings and voice your opinions. I mean, it's tough to get up there to the mic and speak in an open forum, but they need to hear the voice of the community that people are interested. I mean, when I go to the school board meetings, there's maybe a dozen, 2 dozen people there, and of those, maybe one person gets up and speaks. Unfortunately, sometimes it's only me. So if you have an interest in the farm, you should come out, and you should encourage your neighbors to come out, because I think by nobody speaking up, they don't think there's an interest in it. Adele?
Before you joined us, a lot of us went to the meetings, and we did verbalize how we felt about it.
You got to keep the pressure up.
And went to deaf ears.
But
In fact, it got them more urged to do what they're doing now because we did what we did. So.
But if you don't continue the fight, then they think
I'm
they beat
trying
you.
my best not to say anything.
It's amazing, Vito.
Just do it, don't say anything.
What do you want to say, Vito?
Well, tonight or at the school board meeting? I know you get
How
up,
many times?
I know you get up and say, but
Right.
we need more than just Vito or Dan or Bruce. We need, you know, we need Adele, we need Rich, we need Rich's son, we need the community together. I mean, when you talk to people in the community, they want to see the farm kept for the public. But nobody comes to the meetings and speaks up, besides a small group of people. And, you know, that apathy is going to, like, you know, when people are going to speak up when it's too late, when they find out that the place has been sold or the place has been given up and the bulldozers show up to start bulldozing the property, then the people are going to say, I didn't know about it, how did this all happen? We would have
Let
spoken
me
up.
ask a potential assemblyman. What do you know about the Mary Call farm?
I mean,
That's okay.
I remember being, you know.
No, the school doesn't want you to know.
Right.
That's,
I mean, I
You've been
remember,
here all your life.
I remember doing a school field trip there when I was probably in elementary school.
It was both
And then
seats.
they never talked about it ever again. Now, I know when my father went to elementary school, he went to Marion Carl.
The Marion Call
Yeah.
School.
He went to Marion Carl School. So he would know more about, I mean, I can find out from the school district, you know, what's going
I'll
on.
guarantee-
Dan, I will go to a school board meeting and I will speak up.
I'll guarantee
The next one
your
is June
parents.
12th at
June
the
12th?
Commack High School.
June 12th.
Good, I'll be in my old stomping grounds.
Oh, at Commack High School?
That's what it says on my phone.
Okay.
I'm just relaying the message that the information I see on their website. If it's
7 p.m. or 8 p.m.?
It says on here 7:30, but
7:30.
isn't that the one where they're telecasting somebody from Germany or something?
Oh, Wunsch,
no,
yes.
that was.
Yeah, Mr. Wunsch is going to be
No, I think that was
Skyped in.
I think that was the one for the election night. I think that was.
Oh, that was the election night?
Oh, that was the election night?
Yeah, it was the executive session, I believe.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it says Thursday, June 12th at 7:30 at the Commack High School.
No, I think their whole game is to avoid the vote again, because I don't think they will win again.
I'm sure they won't.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why the suit. They don't care about the sale. That's chicken feed. I mean, you know, 40 condos at $20,000, that's $800,000 a year in taxes.
It's 30, they were figuring.
30 condos, that's $600,000 a year in taxes.
That's enough to give a superintendent when they leave.
That's right. It's enough for the golden parachute.
But Dan, how many extensions have they been authorized? So far, about 4?
The heirs, I think, if my memory serves me, I think they got 3. So now the final extension expired and they put in their answer. And their answer was to challenge the defenses of the school district,
The amendment.
the amendment of the answer. So we'll see how that goes. I guess the judge has to make a decision on whether he's going to allow the district to amend the answer, their defense, or agree with the heirs and say you had your chance and you blew it. So I guess that's for the judge to decide. Rachel?
When you get this e-courts, are you actually getting their, you know, the paperwork that they're submitting?
Yes.
You're actually able
No,
to see
it sends me an email saying that something happened and you have to go onto the website
it, right?
and it tells you that, like, this one said answer, but I physically went up and got the paperwork from the court. You can go up and look at the file,
In River?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
and you can look at the file and you can get the paperwork or whatever you do.
But the email you sent me,
Yeah, that was part of the paperwork.
oh, you actually had to physically go to Riverhead to get that?
I personally didn't, but I sent somebody out there.
I understand, but someone had to physically go get that. That doesn't come in the email.
No. I was out there a few times for other issues, and supposedly they were supposed to go electronic, and all that stuff would be available to you. But if you look, like on this particular case, the only thing I see available on the website was the final decision by the judge against the interveners.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually go on the e-courts and you could see the judge's answer as to why he didn't allow the interveners to get involved with the case. But supposedly they were supposed to start putting everything online, but so far, not everything. But we have somebody that goes out for us and looks in the files and gets paperwork.
Okay. Thanks, Dave. And by the way, the school district has also proposed a new bylaw which prohibits residents from sending email directly to each school board member. All email will have to be sent to the entire board. And I'm going to personally write to the commissioner. I believe that that's an abridgment of my free speech, and see if the commissioner will take that up, because I'm sure they're going to pass it. Okay, let's take a break for 10 minutes and then we'll come back. There's coffee in the back.
I went with you to the Smithville Mall.
No, you didn't.
I said,
Now, which one are you?
You should.
Stephen, the oldest one.
Okay.
because
Yeah,
I
he's
had
not the
several
one that's the
questions. I can't believe you.
I don't.
He's the dentist. Her youngest son is a doctor in Pittsburgh.
That's a conversation to have.
Her dad is the dentist here.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Maureen?
Okay, we'll have to talk afterwards. Small world.
Our grandmother lives in the next block.
Okay. County Park planning. We had big plans to refurbish County Park, and we were trumped by an Eagle Scout who did a phenomenal job.
Yes, they did.
But I'd like to ask the group who put in some time and effort into that to talk about maybe continuing the group as a beautification in Commack. You know, if we can come together and talk about, you know, just in general, what we can do to do some beautification.
What we need to discuss regarding this is I followed it up with the commissioner, and he would love for us to adopt the park. But the key is if we adopt the park, which would give us carte blanche to go into there anytime without a permit, anytime we want to do it, they would require insurance. So now we have to weigh the issue of, is the insurance worth it for something of one park for the year? I'm not sure if the price is worth it that way, or we could do the same process. We want to do 4 permits a year, it wouldn't cost us anything, we would just use the waiver. So that's something that we have to discuss, look into what insurance would be and all. But he says it's going to be a permanent thing, he's going to have to, it's a simple form, but he would have to have us on insurance.
Rachel sent me a insurance agent who handles civic groups insurance. And she sent me an application that I filled out and returned to her and had to go to the underwriters. And she said that it would probably be in the range of $300 to $500 a year. So it might be in our interest to do that. At the next meeting, we'll discuss it. Adele?
I was gonna suggest maybe to our benefit to get it over an umbrella.
Right, that's what this would be.
To cover everything, because even with the,
Or you follow the garden,
right,
the same
all
issue.
those things, we need an insurance, so for
Right.
that amount, it might be worth it.
Yes,
That's okay.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
yeah, then what?
I was gonna say, if I may, in Holbrook, what the county legislator did was there were different homeowners associations. And then what he did was he had community activists, some of the board members from the local homeowners and civic associations, some of the government representatives, and the Chamber of Commerce Board. And what they did was they set up a separate beautification committee. And then what they did was they took a directors and officers insurance policy and a general liability. So that ended up costing them $1,100. However, what that did was it allowed them to do, you know, semi-annual community cleanups. It allowed them to get involved in different parks. And that umbrella policy then covers other associations. So say a miniature homeowners association wanted to form almost under the auspices of a Commack, you know, community group, and then go from there. And then if you're working on the median, say you do that adopted median program, that insurance policy also covers for that. And then what they did was they just kind of took on these different projects, and in order to raise money, they sent out letters to the merchants telling them that this is something that they're doing. They've been using, you know, the sheriff's assistance program in the county, which you have available to you, and different volunteer groups. Back then they had the Red Cross. And then businesses would donate $100. So in a one-shot deal, they raised $1,600. Then what they did was at like a Chamber of Commerce event or at a fair, you know, maybe the the events like the concerts or something at Hoyt Farm, residents might donate 5 or 10, we raised $700 that way. And that's a way that, this way you're not dipping out of your pocket for a different type of insurance policy. You've gotten the community involved, and it kind of now generates their interest, because if the residents or the businesses are paying into something, they want to see what they're getting out of it too. So you may also generate interest that way.
Thank you. We'll look into that. Deb?
We spoke to the father and the sculptor. They were saying, we went over
The Eagle
to
Scout.
the Eagle Scouts' dad and to the man who actually sculpted the eagle, and the young man had helped him, but he's an artist, this young. And we said to him, how can we help now? He said, one, he's been trying like crazy to get publicity. Nobody, either in, none of the papers, nothing has announced this. A local paper, nothing. So, he's gotten in contact with the Commack. I don't know if the Commack patch, have you seen the Commack patch?
Somebody has to steal the eagle.
No. Right.
But we can put an ad on the Commack patch in the announcements section and do that.
Right.
And I just wanted to mention that the young gentleman's name is Tim Hardy, and he's a Commack resident. You probably see his name on the sign, so my hat's off to him. I mean,
Right.
he accomplished very quickly what we tried to do for several months.
Not so quickly, it was 2 weeks, every day.
No, what I'm saying is, we went the route of the bureaucratic route, and we went through, we need insurance, we need waivers, we need this, and we worked on it for several months, and we got the runaround from the county, so I don't know how he did it so quickly. Maybe
Boy Scouts.
maybe they felt for him in some way, and I give him credit, because we had to deal with the bureaucracy that Mr. Reeser and Adele were working on, and Rachel as well.
But do we want to continue any support and or maintenance of Cannon Park? Should we get together?
Is that a one-shot thing, they're not gonna maintain?
I think we need to have, if you want to find out, I sent everybody an email with the dad's name, M. Hardy.
I don't think I got that either.
You didn't get that?
No.
It says I sent it, so, okay, you know what? I'll resend it. So, but,
I have no problem reaching out to him to ask if
Oh,
there was
maybe
something,
just a talk.
because if it's something that they're looking to do, even as the Scouts or the Boy Scouts
To
continue,
continue.
we could be that would be a great
I
link
think that was
for
a
the two of
one-time
us
project
to get
for him to
Right.
get
Achieve
his
his badge.
bid.
But it might be a
Scout
good
badge.
project for other Scouts. Don't they need to do
you know what?
every year?
That's a discussion. That's a discussion. And I don't think it hurts to sit down with the dad or whomever, you know.
Adele?
On the scout issue, I had spoken to 2 different scoutmasters who had their kids set up to work on it and had to cancel that. And I also spoke to Home Depot, who the manager and assistant manager were both willing to work with me and get us anything we needed. So I had left it open and explained what happened, and I said that down the road, we would like to perhaps step in and do some more work. Would you be willing to work with us? And they said, if you come to me, yes, then we would work with you.
Okay.
So
I'm
that's.
sure by next year at this time, it's going to be a little bit messier there, and it's going to require cleanup. So I'm sure the county's not going to maintain it the way.
Well, maybe this whole summer we could, strike up something with the dad.
It should be the boy.
No, I meant but it's not just the boy. The dad was the one who he drove. He had 6 cars. They brought their own plows, their lawnmowers, their own equipment. So, yes, of course the dad and the kid.
I think you should contact the kids, what, 16?
Right.
We already set a precedent that we're going to do it by the book, which made us look good, we can do it. We want to continue along.
I think
Well, let's-
we have a good relationship with the committee.
Let's see if we can continue this committee
Yeah, we'll continue
and
the
call it
committee.
the beautification committee rather than.
Exactly. Yeah, that's great.
And meeting, we'll talk about,
The insurance.
we'll have the insurance quote,
Okay, we'll look at that.
and we'll look at that.
It's got wings on it, or just, I can't
I agree with you, I
believe
think
it.
this is all that grass and everything, that precedes from Smithtown heading toward Commack. The meadow.
The meadow.
The meadow look.
Where is this?
Where's the meadow look? The meadow is.
The median.
The median.
You go home.
Oh, right,
Yes.
yeah.
The last time Officer Preen and I spoke to the highway superintendent, he said they have, the entire Suffolk County Highway Department has one employee for every 19 miles of road. And that means that includes all the office employees. It's not just the guys fixing the roads. So if you divide the number of employees total in the department, including the office people who sit in the office, they have one for every 19 miles of road. So it's not going to get done, you know. And as Steve said, the problem with different levels of government. Last year we had somebody approach us to ask if they could get their street cleaned. And what I found out was that the sidewalk was the province of the town, but the street was the province of the county. So if you want your sidewalk clean, it's the town, but if you want the street clean, it's the county. Everyone's got something else. We have a very complicated system of government. As I said, if you look at your tax bill, you'll see there are 14 different taxing authorities on your tax bill. That means that there are 14 different county, town, and local authorities doing things.
That village thing is looking a little better and better.
Okay, new business. Nominations for officers. We have an election in June for president, vice president, secretary, and treasurer. Do I hear, are there any other people crazy enough to take these positions? Do I hear any nominations?
So does that mean if
Well,
you're
let's-
renominated, then your services are rendered and you're free to go, or what does that mean?
You sound too anxious.
No. It means that if you care to put your name in again, there'll be one vote cast if no one else is running against you. Period. Any nominations for officers?
So we
Okay, so in
nominate
June-
somebody? Well, is anybody interested in being an officer like this?
What I just asked.
Oh, you said nominate somebody else, but.
Well, you have to nominate, you can nominate yourself, but you have to nominate at this meeting.
Yeah, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, we didn't ask if anybody was interested. Like, I'd like to know if somebody else is interested in taking part.
Or you nominate them.
Yeah, before, somebody might be interested and they might feel upset right now that we're not nominating them, but we don't even know that they are interested in being an officer.
We generally have a nominating committee.
Okay,
We're not big enough.
okay.
Is anyone interested?
That meets ahead of time.
Well, I agree with you, you have to see if somebody's interested.
Well, it did go out in the agenda that this was the nominations for officers under new business. So if you read the agenda, you know that this was the meeting to do it. But I'm going to assume that no one's interested, and we'll.
You're all in. Status quo.
We're back.
So
And
does somebody have to nominate you for president?
I don't think so. I think that
Well,
if there's no
officially, I'll nominate Bruce.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to nominate Bruce as president.
You have to make it known that you want to do another term, all of you.
Right. I want to do another term. You want to do another term? 2 years.
I don't want to see the whole thing fall by the wayside, so.
Right.
We said 2 year term?
Yeah.
But this is my first year, so, I'm gonna do more.
Placed.
Yes, but the office took over.
I took over.
You filled
Yeah.
it.
When somebody,
Somebody else.
Somebody else was vice president,
their term was up,
and they left.
they just left.
They left.
They resigned.
Like Lyndon Johnson.
finished
You
out.
still get another term.
Who was the guy that resigned?
Now you're 2 more years,
Who's Jeanette?
Oh, Jeanette resigned?
Jeanette resigned.
Okay.
right? So now he's in for 2 years. So you're in for 2 years, don't worry.
Finish somebody else's term, now you have to do your own.
Now you're gonna do your own 2
Okay,
years.
so I was taking over somebody else's
He
term.
just wants them to stay.
Right. We just want him to stay.
Do we have a second for that nomination? To
I
be the
second
president.
it.
Della seconds. I nominate Dan for vice president. Do we have a second for that? Teresa? Do we have a nomination for Maureen for secretary, for treasurer? Debbie, seconded by Adele. And for
Secretary.
Rachel as secretary. Teresa, seconded by Adele. Okay, all the nominations are done. Officially.
So you don't have a choice whether or not you want it.
Okay.
Good job, you get rewarded.
Was her term, because she was elected first last year, was that a 2-year term also for treasurer?
Yes.
So
In other words,
she didn't have to be nominated.
and then next year, the trustees have a election.
So that it doesn't all happen.
So in even years, we have the officers elected, and the odd years, we have the trustees elected.
So we didn't have to nominate her because she's already in for a year.
No,
It's just
no,
1 year,
even years.
Bruce, it's just 1 year, so.
Or it's been more than
No.
1 year.
Yes.
I've only been
She-
1 year.
She did one, she just
I
elected.
she did.
She was elected last year, so if she's at a 2-year term, she didn't need to be nominated because she's still got one more year to go, right?
Rachel's
the
only
same.
in the first year too, right?
Rachel as
Yes,
well.
both first years.
So
So,
we're out
so am I mistaken? This should be the,
of our odd even.
this should be the nominations for the trustees?
No, they did it last year.
Last year
We elected trustees last year?
Yes.
Then we didn't elect officers last year.
No.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I thought.
That's why he got in as the filler into the shade.
Voted in for,
Last year, no, I think, I don't have to check the bylaws, but officers are even years and trustees are odd years.
Maureen and Rachel were 1 year ago, right?
yes.
1 year.
And
You sure?
not resign.
No,
I
Right.
no, it was a legitimate election.
I know. It's 2
And Jeanette
years.
was only in her first year too when Dan took over during the
Is
time.
Rich interested in being treasurer again? So I'm nominating him with,
No, well, wait, we
We'll
got,
have
we gotta settle this. You have it written down?
In my first book.
Yeah. I don't have the bylaws with me.
I like this. Go on.
All right,
Sorry.
let's go.
Have it.
No, let's get it right.
Just trying to,
The worst thing that happens is we nominate the trustees again.
you don't have, yeah, you just nominate him, but you
Right.
don't vote on it. Doesn't-
Well, you vote
I
on
mean,
it.
there's no competition, I don't know that it.
No, next
Month.
month. Next month we vote on.
So.
All right, well, let's, in order to,
Next month.
well, no, we can't nominate them next month and have the election, but
Right.
in case I'm wrong, I nominate Adele for trustee. Do we have a second? Deborah? You want to nominate Rich for trustee?
Sure, Rich is a trustee now, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So you want
this is my first year as a trustee.
This is his
See,
first
this
year.
has been messed up.
Yeah. Well, we're going to nominate you as a trustee
Somebody,
just in case.
Okay, I'll nominate Rich.
And we have a second, Pat and Art Riley. We have a nomination for Art Riley for trustee. Teresa, seconded by Rachel. So no matter which way it goes, we have 7 nominees, and I will check the bylaws and see which way it goes.
Anybody else interested in being
I
a
would-
trustee? Vito? No?
I've tried him a number of times.
He just wants to get
He's
his
too
straw
smart.
hat on in the field, so. He wants to plant his wheat crop.
Okay, so we're set with that. Next meeting is June 16th here at 7 o'clock.
What time is it, 16th?
June 16th.
How about the dinner?
And Mr. DeRubius will be here. Yeah, we're on to that next.
I was gonna,
And that's when the election will be. The annual dinner is Tuesday, June 3rd. Now, that's next week.
that's next Tuesday.
That's next Tuesday. It's $35 per person, and we're going to honor Dan for all his work this year, getting new members and also running for the school board. So,
And for videotaping.
and the videotaping and posting on YouTube. So he's been quite an addition to the organization.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dan.
How, who's running that? Like, if we want to get people to sign up, who do they contact?
Maureen?
Worry, and you need my telephone number. It's 631.
267-8537.
If you have a check
No
tonight,
Commack residents?
Yeah.
Or
You
email.
bring your check with you.
Bring our check with you, or do you know what
You
well, if you have a check tonight, you can give her a check
Yes,
tonight.
Well, they
I
can mail
won't
to you.
use money.
And how long,
Yeah, don't mail it because it'll get lost.
how long in advance do you need confirmation?
Well, as soon as possible.
Adele,
I
Adele
have
knows.
to, I have to call up on Friday before and guarantee the
Well,
amount.
That's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
That's tomorrow.
I was just gonna say.
But they know me, so maybe I can,
Monday.
how many people do you think we have?
Well, we normally get about 20,
That's what I did.
Right, 20.
Okay.
so it's $35.
But some people are gonna be away. You
Yeah.
know there's 2 or 3 people.
Bill and Nancy,
Then
are
usually
days
go.
away.
No, make out your check to the Commack
35.
Association.
$35 each.
What's today's date?
30, and if I get more.
$35.
Today's May 30th?
29.
May 29th.
And Dan's getting his whole family to go.
You bring the kid?
Who do we pay to order?
Commack Community Association.
And where are we going?
We're going, I
Orlando's.
believe, Orlando's again.
Oh, on Commack Road.
Yes.
Commack Road.
What's today's date?
29.
You know, Del, it might pay if you're doing the operation with Orlando's to have them just call you, because you're putting the number in.
And tell them we have,
Right.
all right,
And I'll have plenty of money to pay them.
all right, and you bring the check
But
that
the
night.
checks, they can give me tonight, or they can give me the day of it.
But please let us know if you're coming.
Yeah, please.
In other words, so we'll have a count.
So you're gonna send out like an official invitation by email
Yes.
to all the members? Because, you know, maybe one or two people.
Yeah.
Del, maybe you could give everybody your telephone?
Yes. Hey, you know that fellow Gene who used to...
Wait.
Dallas phone number.
Adele's phone number.
Del's phone number is? How, what did you?
My phone number is 5322.
543-5322.
Correct.
So if Rachel sends out an email to everyone tomorrow, she can include your phone number?
Yeah,
That's fine then. I don't
Okay.
And you know what, on there, tell them to give me their names, first and last, and how many people, and their phone numbers, and they can leave it on my machine, because I'm in and out a lot.
Okay.
And tell them to bring their check.
And, yeah, and then line them very check. It's 543-5322.
Okay.
So which one down?
Yeah, hang on, let me do this now. This is dinner. Okay.
And do we have any member items
Yes.
for inclusion tonight?
Yes,
Maureen's got an item.
I'm item, you need to be coming due. The end of the year
If I sit, I can't hear you.
is the end of our year, June 30th.
Dues.
So your dues are due I would say by the next meeting.
How much is it again?
Depends on what category you're in. If your family is 20. If you're a senior single, it's 10. And then there's another category of 15, which is an individual, I guess, who is not a senior.
What if you both
Is there
seniors
anyone
and
here?
a couple?
Couple is a family,
Well,
right?
Maybe our team member, can I get a discount?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I just wanted to also say, I think we have to all concentrate on membership.
Right.
I'm planning on going door to door again, doing a membership drive, where I left off last time. I slacked a little bit. But I would say, like, if everybody could just get their neighbor, or like one on each side of their house, we have like a little over 100 members at this point, so if we could get everybody to get one neighbor on each side, or both neighbors, we could theoretically triple our membership, and then we should start thinking about ideas where we can set up something like a tent in front of Target or meat farms and try and do like membership drives for people who come in to shop us. Unfortunately, there's not that many people that know that this even exists. And if they knew, I think they would readily join. I mean, we have the different levels of membership, and we even go down to the free membership, where you'll at least be informed. You won't be able to participate, and you know, your voice, as this young gentleman will probably tell you, your voice is heard in numbers. When you have more numbers, he's gonna listen. If he's elected, he's gonna listen to an organization with 3,000 members. I would think a little bit louder than he's going to listen to the one person who picks up the phone and is complaining about a sign on his front lawn or something like that. If 3,000 people are going to be complaining as one voice, you're going to get action more readily than individuals complaining. So anything we can do to increase membership, I'm open to hearing any ideas of whatever anybody would suggest.
Told that Smithtown Day is next week?
Smithtown Day is this Sunday.
Oh, this Sunday?
This Sunday.
Put up at the table.
Oh, no, 20.
Sure, we can get.
Where is
I don't think you can just put up a table.
Yeah, no, they're completely sold out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they sold out probably about a month and a half in advance. But I mean, there's tons of people there, so I mean, if you guys are there anyway, you know, if there's a table somewhere else designed for something with Commack, you know, that you can talk to those people. If you have literature that you guys want to give to me, I can leave something on the table. And if anything, everybody from Commack comes, I can give it to them.
Great.
I can do that. Is there an active website, Facebook group, something that I can direct people to?
Yes, there's a website, CommackCommunityAssociation.org.
CommackCommunityAssociation.org.
Can we think outside the box, like, if I was gonna have a garage sale and I make the donations to the Commack Community Association, we could put a big sign out, and anybody that comes by, we can have memberships and all that. I'm thinking outside the box. I got a lot of junk in my house, and I live right on New Highway, so I usually get a lot of traffic. So I could have like the Commack Community sign on both sides, so they come in and going, and anybody, we can say the proceeds are going.
Sure.
Yeah, just doesn't have to be a big one, it has to be a little, just to get something different out there, just like different. I'm thinking outside the box here. We can get the kids involved,
You
but some.
you could print up the membership forms and.
Yeah, have the
everyone to
membership
sign up,
forms
you know.
there, right, something along that line, so it's like, it's less intimidating for people and everybody stops at
And
garage.
we have the membership cards.
We have the membership cards that
With
we
the
can
discounts
sell
on the back,
out.
so I can
right?
drop some off if you want, and if
Because people tend
anybody.
to be very generous when it's a donation and you price them right, because I see that at the library all the time, you know. Oh, there. Okay, so if, as long as we can, now with those things that we have to get pre-approved, or can we do that, like, is that something simple enough where we don't have to have a meeting or?
I mean, get members.
So I can send out an email, or we can send it, and then we can get it, flyers out.
Oh,
do
absolutely.
Something like that, that's okay?
Anyone who wants to
Membership,
can
garage
get
sales,
members.
things like that. All right, good. Well, so you said it's just something different that might catch, and we can do a big sale at it.
Hey, at the
Give it
parade, on the parade on Monday, I wanted to hand out applications to all the people on the side of the road. It was a nice crowd there. So
Yeah, I said, we've
that
got
would have been a
something we
nice
should do.
thing to, hand out, and people could have joined, you know.
Maybe at a bank, maybe we can get a table at a bank. Well, what's the most active bank around?
Not that one that was robbed.
No, yeah, make a note.
Because I bet you a bank would give us a table to put out membership.
One by ten o'clock?
Nobody ever knows to have Bank of America.
Take note.
Cap one and make
What happened to the sign we were gonna put out on the Cannon Park? Commack Community Association membership?
Oh, that was gonna be part of that beautification thing.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Why?
we got next.
Is there a problem that we can't put that up?
They won't let us put a permanent sign there, but for the.
It's a semi-permanent sign, it's gonna be cardboard mixed permanent.
Well, if we adopt that thought, we'll be able to put up a
Then we put
sign.
up a sign like they have that Commack Little League.
So right now, you couldn't put up a sign?
No.
What
Adele?
about,
My friend lives, I
talking
think
about
that
having
friend lives.
Commack
That's a
Community
good spot.
Association welcomes you to
It's all
Commack or
traffic.
something?
Yes,
What
yes.
happened with that? That's different than
Well-
having it as working on the law.
That's what-
No, if we adopt that part, we'll be able to put up that sign, but we can't just put up the sign, we need permission.
That's what I'm saying, but even though we're not working on,
No, we don't have to be working on
we
it.
should have a sign, ask if we can have permission to put up a sign saying, Commack Community Association welcomes you to Commack.
Yeah,
Or, like, Rotary Club has it.
No, I understand.
But you notice they were taken down.
And we,
Because it is commissioned.
one,
Two libraries we should have signed on their bulletin boards. I mean,
well, that's easy,
yeah, that's a given.
but they do take it down from time to time. It doesn't just stay up.
That's all right.
But a sign at Cannon Park would be great, and I think that we will get to the, I think we'll get the insurance, and I think we'll get to the point where we adopt that park. Deb?
We need someone who has computer skills, who can really make our website to do that.
Yeah, to maintain the website.
It's, and
If you know any,
I thought we had somebody.
me,
No,
but I don't have time to do everything.
wasn't there somebody we paid each year?
No, we pay to support the website. We don't pay anybody to maintain it.
I was gonna give it a shot, but I haven't had time to get
Oh.
first.
Adele made a very good point.
You want to say? I said that we have to be honest, it could be somebody who had a job doing that, who's now retired,
Sure.
who would do it for us as a.
If you find somebody, please let me
We
know.
don't know of anybody.
Yeah, please let me know.
Can we put that on our website?
Wanted.
You know, members with, seeking members who have.
Well, I can make up something, Rachel could send it out to the membership and say,
A webmaster, looking for.
we need a volunteer webmaster.
And can't you put it on our page also?
Sure.
Put it on the app?
Yeah, but,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
More work.
I was trying to get somebody else to do it. I haven't been successful.
Okay.
Let somebody else go for the legal ad.
Any other member items?
How many people?
I was wondering, the street sweeper from Smithtown came by today, but they never let you know when, like with a robo-phone call or something, so of course, some people, including me, have my yard bags out and they were in the street.
So they couldn't sweep.
My neighbor had, of course, so, well, they sweep, but they go around.
They go around your bags, yeah.
A loop to loop, so. I was wondering, is it possible to,
Our area is to be picked up. The minute you put something out, bags or oil, cuttings, almost every Monday.
Maureen, who knows?
We haven't seen the sweeper, but we've seen people pick the big trucks every Monday, almost every Monday. And it's the garbage men that alert the town where there's a number of things. So you get a hold of your garbage man. And we don't ask him, but he just kind of does it.
Maybe we can ask
Who do you have?
Yeah, I'll call Glenn Jorgensen and I'll ask him about alerts about street sweeping.
I mean, I live in the Huntington side, and, it seems to change year by year, but usually they put out a flyer in everybody's mailbox and say
They do?
that they're gonna be coming within the next couple of days. They tell you to keep stuff out of the street. And then some of the few times that I've been home when they sweep the streets, they actually send a guy ahead of the sweep sweeper, and he takes the garbage cans and moves them on your driveway on the apron before the guy comes in. Actually, funny enough, is they came to my neighborhood today as well, I guess, and
That's the Huntington side.
the streets were clean. I don't know how they did it, but they swept them today as well.
I'll call Glenn Jorgensen, I'll ask him about notification.
And I didn't see that typical go around the garbage can,
Right.
dirt spot, you know what I mean?
every garbage?
So they did, somehow they did it today, and they moved garbage cans, and they did something, I don't know how they did it.
Any other member items? Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn? Deborah, seconded by Dan. We are adjourned, thank you very much, everyone.
Here, if I may. I want to leave this for you.
So far, I have 8